It's time to find out what's been happening to those toe-tapping disco divas, the Pet Shop Boys.
No.
Their last studio album came out 3 years ago, so are they feeling hard up when going out shopping?
A wide bargain.
Oh, wide bargain.
I'm a millionaire and he's penniless, so.
They're filthy rich and they've accumulated some very bizarre costumes in their time. The word subtle doesn't hang around their wardrobe. Even Radio 1 still plays their records. Having your own show helps, though. They've worked with pop icons and mingled with the famous. They're on first-name terms with East End slappers, sorry George, and West End girls, Dusty, Tina, Patsy, and Adina. They've rubbed shoulder pads with them all, even the legendary...
We have performed with Liza Minnelli before. She's a legend. Well, she was until the Ruby Wax show.
Liza can never forget.
Girls, boys, art, pleasure. Girls, boys, art, pleasure.
So what if they're too old for an 18 to 30 holiday? These boys only tour in the most swanky and exotic places.
Cars, travel.
Yeah, get another bottle of champagne.
New York, New York.
Ah, the Big Apple. Oh, joy of joys. They've asked little me along to meet them. Oh, Saint-Tropez, Hong Kong, Buenos Aires, Glasgow. Oh, sorry, Moscow. Hardly hot though, is it?
Neil, welcome to the Ozone.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us here.
Welcome to Moscow.
How are you enjoying it?
Oh, having a good time. So I've got thermal underwear on.
I've got a thermal vest.
Have you?
Yes.
I haven't, you say.
So whereabouts is Chris?
Chris is in Las Vegas to see the World Championship fight between Mike Tyson and Frank Bruno.
And I'd always put pleasure before business.
So he's enjoying a very different climate than I don't think he'll be having any snow.
It's about -10 now, isn't it? Yeah.
It is cold in Moscow, thanks, Chris. But I hope you're not getting too hot under that collar watching the boxing. So, who've you got your money on?
Tyson.
Chris seems to enjoy a bout of fisticuffs. It's a hard life, but someone's got to do it.
I do my bit.
God, I just can't believe I'm here. It's just so fantastic, isn't it?
It's beautiful, St Basil's Cathedral. But of course we've done all this before on the Go West video. So I've got somewhere else I'd rather go.
Come on then, let's
Away.
go. Neil's gone east again to record some backing vocals, and today he's off to do some interviews and meet the media. Oh, I love the public transport here. The bloke in the black leather jacket letting us in is our Russian minder. He's always 3 steps behind, following Neil everywhere. And I mean everywhere. But don't tell Chris that. Now for the interrogation from the Russian press.
Originally I wanted the Red Army Choir, but the Red Army Choir have a deal with the rock group the Leningrad Cowboys, and that's the only group that they'll sing with. So we had the services of the Moscow Men's Choir.
The conductor's rehearsing the choir before we go for a take. Don't fancy yours much, Neil.
Oh, okay, fine. If you want to come up.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it is fine.
We're going upstairs to the control room to nail that babushka.
The last note before the verse, I think, should be 1 bar longer.
Look, I talked to him
Oh,
just
good.
now.
Okay, fine. When we take it back to London, we may actually put it on hard disk and shift it a little bit in the computer to get the timing absolutely spot on. But we want it to be absolutely right.
Sounds okay to me, Neil. Don't look so worried, pet. Day is a track from the Pet Shop Boys' new album. It's their 11th album in 11 years. They've notched up 21 million sales worldwide since West End Girls first shot them to the top of the charts. So what's the secret of their success?
How have you stayed together and stayed as close?
I don't know. I never really. People often ask us this, but I never really think about it in real life. You know, we're kind of, you know, we enjoy what we do in terms of writing music and recording and all the rest of it. And you know, we know how we have a sort of relationship based around that works really well. Chris works very, very fast. Sometimes Chris will have done all the work that he needs to do on a track before we've gone into the studio. He's got all the music programmed and stuff. Then we go into the studio to record it. We're just more or less checking it, really, before putting it down. Obviously, we make changes and put new things in. But he's done lots and lots of work beforehand on that. And I've done some work before as well. And then if I'm doing vocals or getting backing vocalists in, Chris doesn't normally come in then, because, you know, what do you want to sit around the studio for while I'm singing all day long? It's sort of pointless, really.
I'm sure it'll be good though, because Neil's in charge and he knows what he's doing.
Do you often work a part like that?
Yes, in fact, I got them to book the choir this week because Chris has had it booked for months to go to the championship fight. And there was no need for us both to go there to the recording of the choir. I mean, it would have been inconceivable for me not to even have come, really, just to have approved this sort of arrangement and sent Bob, the engineer, over to record it. But obviously I wanted to just to hear it and just to check it was all right. And also, of course, it's a good excuse for me to come to Moscow as well.
What are you going to call the new album? I mean, what gave you the idea for the title?
I'm glad you asked me twice. You see, I'm a bilingual.
I think it's a very different sounding album for us, this one. When we started writing it last year, we'd just been on tour in South America, and we were quite influenced by some of the samba music we heard in Brazil. And so we decided to write a track using those kind of samba rhythms. The first song goes, Hay una discoteca por aquí, which means, is there a discotheque near here? Actually, we wrote that song in New York, in fact, originally. And I had a Spanish-English phrase book, and the chorus goes, it sounds great, te quiero. Entiende usted? Dígame, ¿cuánto tiempo tengo que esperar? I don't speak Spanish at all. And all the phrases came from the phrase book, but it's nice. It means, I love you, do you understand? Tell me, how long must I wait? But it's quite interesting because the song uses the idea of language as a kind of metaphor, if you like, for being in an extreme emotional state, like love or stress, and not knowing how to deal with it. And it uses the idea of not being able to communicate in a foreign language when you're abroad as a sort of metaphor for that, if that makes any sense. And also it's the same word, discotheque, it's an international word. It's the same word in Russian as it is in Spanish. It's very Pet Shop Boys. And the single Se a Vida É, which is based on a Portuguese song, a Brazilian song that we heard when we were in Brazil.
The video for Se a Vida É was directed by their favourite and body beautiful photographer, Bruce Weber.
The director, Bruce Weber, said, I put on this very expensive Helmut Lang suit, and he said, you may get slightly wet in this shot, Neil. And of course, 5 minutes later, we are head to toe drenched in water in this water pool with all these models and things. I think we deliberately decided to do something that was more international in its music approach. And for us, making it, it made it very enjoyable just to take different kinds of music and kind of weld it into a Pet Shop Boys record.
The Pet Shop Boys have been busy over the years producing hits for a bunch of other top pop stars.
Do you enjoy producing?
Yes, I do. Sometimes it's a bit boring, you know, because it takes a long time, but I do, though. I always like hearing other people sing a song we've written, like when Tina Turner sang Confidential. It was great, because we'd written it for her, and then finally she was singing it. And I just thought it sounded great.
I wanted to work with those guys because I like the energy in that music.
Tina Turner recorded Confidential for her latest album, Wildest Dreams.
between you and me.
And what about when you are recording in London? How does that work? Because I heard you were saying about Chris lying on the sofa and listening while
Yeah,
you
so
do
not
all
all
the
he
work.
does, but Chris is famous in the studio for lying on the sofa.
And he's a great critic. He'll just raise up and say something very insulting to Neil, and then he'll lay back down. Oh, that wasn't you who sung that, was it? And he keeps a little bit of a vibe going on, I think.
Sometimes you think he's asleep. This is when, if you're spending ages programming something or stuff like that. But in fact, he listens to the track, and he's listening to the track, and suddenly, when he thinks something intentionally, he suddenly makes some quite interesting comment, or suddenly jumps up and has an idea for something.
The Dusty Springfield song almost like launched her career again, didn't it? That was like...
Well, she hadn't made a record for quite a long time. But again, it was just great to hear her sing our songs, really. I think people sometimes think that we actually we kind of offer to do productions and stuff for people. In fact, what happens is people tend to ask us. Thank you, everyone.
They produced Boy George singing the title music from the film The Crying Game.
We did the David Bowie Hello Space Boy. I met him at a concert, and I said how much I liked the song Hello Space Boy.
Neil asked me if he could mix it because he thought it was a big single.
We ended up re-recording it. We're doing quite a lot of work on the song.
What we do is we take all the good bits and discard all the rubbish.
We sampled all the bits of his vocal and we put them in a different order, so the Bye Bye Love bit became the chorus.
So bye bye love.
And there wasn't a second verse, so we took the words of Space Oddity, and I thought it was good because he had Space Oddities but Major Tom, and then Major Tom cropped up again in the song Ashes to Ashes.
We know Major Tom's a junkie. Grant's a Major, bye bye Tom.
And he phoned up when we were in the studio, and he said, "Oh, how's it going?" I said, "Well, yeah, there's not a second verse, so we've cut up the words of Space Oddity." And there was a long pause on the phone, and he said, "Sounds like I better come into the studio, I think." And I thought, oh my God, we're in trouble. And then he came in, and I'd sung it as a guide vocal for him, actually, to sing again. And he laughed, and he really liked it. It was funny, though, he said, what did he say? He said...
Yeah, he said, you've taken my lyrics, cut them up, and had the...
Impudence
to sing them.
Just sing them yourself. And then he really liked it.
He knows these things. He has these secret ears.
He will eventually turn to something like Marlene and Dietrich, you know, he'll just be kind of a legend on stage.
And what other fab pop tunes have they worked over?
And sometimes we've done remixes like The Blur, we did the remix of Boys and Girls, because we liked the song, and it was obviously meant to be a disco record, and we thought you could make a better dance version of it. And they were quite into us doing that. And in fact, we ended up singing that song ourselves on tour. And actually, it sounded good. Damon said to me one day, "Oh, it sounds like you wrote that song now."
But who have they enjoyed appearing with most?
We need some birds to snog. Cue the lovesick rock chicks.
Ant and Dec?
We liked the programme, and we were invited to go and see their concert by Harvey Goldsmith, the promoter. And we went to see them at the Albert Hall, and when we went backstage afterwards, they said they'd really like it if we did their show. And so we said yes, but I never thought it would really happen.
Very funny, Charles and Dave. Yeah, you don't fool us, you know.
Could Ant and Dec be the Pet Shop Boys the next generation?
The makeup and prosthetics are very good, aren't they? Yeah, and the wigs.
Have wigs, will travel. These lads do like a bit of a show. They've gone global by touring South America, the Far East and Australia. Are they planning any more?
I don't think we'll ever do a huge world tour. We've only ever done one, actually. I think it's a funny situation to put yourself in. I think it can change you as a person. You're at the centre of this huge operation, travelling around the world, and everything's done for you. It all gets a bit unreal. And I think one of the reasons the Pet Shop Boys have lasted so long is that we haven't been one of those groups that endlessly tour. People go to pieces on tour with drugs and all the rest and drink, and And you know, it's yeah, I can see what all the dangers are, and I would rather avoid them. Having said that, we quite like performing.
I don't like country and western. I don't like rock music.
Chris isn't very keen on much, really.
I don't like rockabilly. I don't like much, really, do I?
So what do you like?
But what I do like, I love passion.
Football?
Because he's a massive Arsenal fan, isn't he, Chris?
Well, he is an Arsenal fan. He's a massive fan. He goes to games and stuff like that. And when he had his birthday party last year, some of the players came.
Go West has become one of the leading football chants in the country.
And the Arsenal fans started singing 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Coming down towards Rob Lee. Ferdinand.
What do you do when you're not doing your music, when you're not doing the Pet Shop act?
Well, I just, I have quite a nice life, really. I'm at home, I go with friends a lot, I go clubbing, I go to the theatre, go to restaurants.
Normal stuff, really.
Yeah, normal stuff, really. I just basically hang out there, really. I go on holiday. I went to Jamaica in January. Actually, I went to Jamaica twice in January. So I went on holiday there for New Year to get away from the English winter. I love Jamaica, I've been there a few times. And then Chris and I did a video for Sea Vida in Orlando, Florida with Bruce Weber. And our album got put back because actually it was just running a bit late. And so we decided to go, Chris wanted to go on holiday because he hadn't been anywhere hot. So we went to Jamaica again. It's a bit decadent actually, having 2 holidays in January.
You seem to throw yourselves into everything. Have you always been exhibitionists?
I was in the pantomime, the local church hall when I was little, singing, "Give me some men who will sell." Actually, it's quite good. Did that. And never really liked acting or school plays or anything. And then just when we were in Australia, the only thing Australia you think of is like neighbours. So just asked if I could go in there just for a laugh.
Excuse me? Oh, I'm looking for a recording studio which is round here somewhere.
Are you in a band?
Yeah, the Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're destined for big things one of these days.
Stage, videos, pantos, variety shows. Is there no end to these lads' talent? What next? A feature film?
We've already made 1 film.
Oh yeah, yeah, we acted in there. Well remembered. I'd forgotten that.
So we've made it. Not many groups have made a feature film. Smash hits in the mid-80s. It couldn't happen here.
And sadly, it didn't happen anywhere for them with this film, even though it starred the fab Barbara Windsor and the avenging Gareth Hunt. But even after 2 weeks at the Clacton Roxy, Neil still claims it's become a cult classic. So what ambitions are left for the future?
I've always wanted to have another #1 hit so that we could be, because actually the Pet Shop Boys, Wham and the Everly Brothers are the duos with the most #1 hits or something. And if we had another one, it would just be us then.
What have I done?
They've done everything any Pet Shop Boy's heart could desire. What's left to find at the end of the rainbow?
Find happiness. Actually, you've already found it, haven't you? You say that, isn't it?
All this and I'm happy.